All right, nice anagramming, folks. Um, hold on, I had the records here. Okay. Um, I think we are getting ready-ish for round four, but we definitely need the board. So let me see if I can get that back. I'm going to just refresh this, and I really hope this doesn't become a thing that's required to do. Okay, there we go. Got the board back. It looks actually nice and crisp now. So I'm gonna try to get a hold of these folks and just let them know that we're ready for round four. Um, Between Emmanuel Umujose and Wellington Jighere. These are two very, very strong players. Emmanuel, in fact, I believe, was the number one seed by virtue of his performance in the MGI League season leading up to the event, even higher than Wellington. Wellington, of course, the top rated player competing here, um, and a former world champion as well. So, no surprise that he is performing so well. Um, and has been over the course of the full MGI season, but do not count Emmanuel out here. Very strong player in his own right. So I am trying to let these guys know that they're good to go. And we will get underway here shortly, it looks like, with Emmanuel going first in this game. So away we go. Clock started after those tiles are drawn. Hello to Scrabble GM. You're in the right place. Watching some Scrabble on this channel. So nice to have you here. So typically it takes about a 3 to 4 second delay when the racks are entered. We're going with, oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. So let me, oops, where's my cursor here? There we go. We're going to save these Quackle games. Please, if only, believe me, Natalie, if only I were able to get that to happen, you can for sure know that I would do it. Sorry, looks like the board's upside down there. Didn't realize. So, yeah, there are a lot of very, very fast players. So yeah, Evil Budgie, the issue with the common word list there was simply that it only has the anagrams that were popping up in between games are from the common word list, just so that people can anagram them without feeling like interesting. Wow, interesting position of Gek, by the way. So Nudnik, I guess, did not pass muster to be a quote-unquote common word the way unkind is. So that's all. So, all right. So very quickly, plays coming in 6 and Gex. That makes some sense, which is kind of surprising given that the O hook was there for the taking, but there wasn't really a good way to hit that O as well as score so well with the X. It really took burning that S to get the X on the good spot right here. So let's see, does this work? Not quite. Well, it's pretty close actually. Let's see. How about this? Close enough. All right, so simply just OU here. The play for Wellington, the two-letter word, along with IO. Wow, there's two obscure two-letter words. I guess you could say three, depending on your experience level. We've seen XU already, the Vietnamese currency. If you play enough Scrabble at this level, you will see all the two-letter words over and over again, but certainly XU is one of the most impactful words that you can learn. So Wellington hasn't hit his clock yet. If he happens to hit it, there he goes. He's just hit it over. So his reasoning for this play is pretty sensible. The point for him was he has 5 vowels and 2 consonants, so using 2 of his vowels to achieve better balance, that's going to allow him to bingo a little bit. Sometimes he'll bingo something ending in N, sometimes he'll bingo from the C. It's not a great board for bingos, but now it is. It's become better now. So, it looks like even before we get the rack, we're going to see that he's drawn OT. Yep, there it is. He actually, there are actually several things kind of interesting about that play, or the series of plays that we just saw. So let me see if I can get to them before Emmanuel makes his next play, which I doubt. So the first thing is that this play here, oh man, I'm way off with this one. Hold on. Let's see. This play, well, not quite as well. Why is it so off? All right. Close-ish. Okay, the play of Jills goes down. That seems reasonable. Again, you'd like to keep your S if at all possible. I suppose also there was the option to play Joll, Joll there. But the nice thing about Jills instead is that the F goes down in this spot along with the O. So by keeping the O instead of using it, Emmanuel has set up a pretty nice place to play his F on a future turn. Not only that, if he draws really well, he might be able to play something all the way across. That doesn't seem very likely, though. He's actually drawn a bingo, reflown on his rack. Not sure if he's... Let me get the scores right here. And, okay. Pretty reasonable play for Wellington here. This is another word that is unique to the UK English Dictionary, bivia. Do I have... Sorry, I don't think I have the define bot up. I'm going to put it up now so you guys can define words in the chat that you're unsure of. Should be up momentarily. So this word with the B and the V and 2 I's in it is very useful. Very, very useful word. Gets you out of a lot of bad racks like the one you saw Wellington have. And a pretty immediate response of WAF for 31. Interesting thing about that play is that if Emmanuel was really crazy, he could have played that same thing here for 8 more points. But of course, placing the W here is really scary to get hit with this. So I think it's potentially worth the point sacrifice for Emmanuel to play for 8 fewer up there. So anyway, Wellington must have drawn an O to his TW because he plays toe, and I'm guessing that it's a better than average chance that Wellington also has an S with that, just because Stowe here is going to hit super hard. So we'll have to see. Mad Dreparite, yeah, what the heck? There's some pretty exciting, yeah, as if that helps us understand what a bivium is. Echinoderms. Yeah, it's hard to know. All right, so back over to Emmanuel now. It's a slight lead for Wellington. Players playing nice and quick. And for the second straight rack, Emmanuel has a 7-letter word on his rack. Last turn he had reflown. Now he has Trental, but nowhere to fit that word. So he's going to have to play something different. He is gearing up to play something parallel to toe. There are some interesting ideas for him to do that here, actually. So if he sees it, he could potentially play Tattler up there with 2 T's, but instead of Tattler, it would just be Tattler. That looks like it would be a pretty good play, scoring 35 points. Is that what he's gearing up to do? No, he is surely not. That is definitely a large point sacrifice over a play that hits a little bit higher up for Emmanuel here. So, Latron the play, 17 points. Tatler would have scored 35. Could just be a word he didn't know. And a very nice play by Wellington of flat for 38. That looks like his best choice here, and he immediately hits his clock to play. So the score now is getting even further in favor of Wellington after that exchange of only 17 points for Emmanuel and 38 points for Wellington. That looks like a really nice play. It's not even that easy to play. Like, it looks like it opens this area, but it really doesn't. ST only takes the Y. So, all right. And wow, yet another rack for Emmanuel that he has a 7-letter bingo on his rack that doesn't play. And I think Remoter, it seems like his play of Remote is actually pretty reasonable in that situation. There's not too many other plays he could have played that scored anything for him on that turn, except underneath the Z. Excuse me. So he had to sort of weigh the risk of opening that triple, which maybe he felt like it wasn't as big of a risk as usual, given that there are some other triples open here. Have this, whoa, that's not a line. So like here is a triple open, here is a triple open. The issue is that these triples require the S. What have I done here? I guess. Yeah, it's tricky to draw on this because the board is pretty nicely square, but not perfectly square. So I'm having some issues like getting to the very edge of the board here, but that's okay. Anyway, score for Emmanuel now is 192. So Wellington with that first blank on his rack. Not a ton of bingo options for him here, actually. But it looks like he has spotted the best one available to him. So, whoops. What did I do here? This looks completely off. Also, I guess Wellington playing upside down. So, anyway, hold on. I don't know what I did to my quackle. I'm fixing it now. So, anyway, Wellington on this turn, he had Mauvain, that's the word that he played, also re-invade, but Mauvain scored 2 more points, and it made it a lot more difficult to play to this triple here. Whereas it's still pretty easy to hit that spot after re-invade. So correct play by Wellington, but we're going to see a bingo for Emmanuel come down. He's playing resurged at the top positioning there, and he's going to keep pace with Wellington just a little bit. He does need Wellington to draw something unappealing. And we don't yet know exactly what he's drawn, but we'll see. So it's, I think the best case scenario for Emmanuel here is Wellington bricks his draw. Oh, and you see he has. Wellington's drawn very poorly. So he is going to be forced to play Uri, which looks like the best option for him, to use 4 out of those 6 vowels, even though he has to use his consonant too, leaving EI for 19 points. That's warranted here. And I think Wellington is sort of embracing the fact that he's up by a fair amount, and he can afford to take on a little bit of a risk here opening this triple. So he's opened this lane with that play, but it was already kind of open prior to his play. There was a lane here too that was going to be pretty useful. So it's not that different in terms of giving Emmanuel a ton more bingo options. It does give him a really good scoring option if he wants to play something in that spot there. So he actually has, he has herbed. Wow. So Emmanuel actually has herbed here for a ton of points if he sees it with a million overlaps, but he'll definitely have options of stuff to do. So you can see on the analysis board, herbed with rod, bow, ER, and DI. That scores quite a lot. Hold on. Let me just tweak this a little. There it is. Nice spot. Down it comes. That's a great play. Really, really nice play. And that's going to get Emmanuel not only equalized, but even give him a small lead once he plays this. I'm going to assume he's about to play this. So really, really nice play by him here. And Wellington, let's see what he draws. That's the same rack as he had previously. So we'll just have to see what he's got. Looks like he potentially is getting ready to play something parallel to herbed. Oh, look at that. So you can see he's drawn pretty nicely. He's drawn that S. The important thing here is that Wellington's drawn that S. The S fits right here for a lot of points. Not as a bingo. It fits right here. You could potentially play something with, I think, Mauvaines going across if you want. So the S is really, really useful. It is the last S here for Wellington. I will get that tracking up at some point. There are 19 tiles unseen to Wellington right now. And it's a weird mix. You can see from Emmanuel's rack how weird it is. Look at his rack. 3 A's, 2 Y's. The nice thing about the 2 Y's, though, for Emmanuel is that he could potentially, if he draws right, he can use one of his 2 Y's, and then if he were to keep something like PY on his rack and draw into a word like that plays there, that would score huge. So the Y could be looming large here as well. This is a tricky move for Wellington because his tiles are very good bingo tiles in general, but the board is not supportive of bingos right now. So I think he's going to be sorely tempted to cash that S and score as many points with it as he can. Where he's going to do that, I'm not sure. He could opt to play something here. He could play cease, for example, right? He could play C, E. Oh, hold on. Let me get even higher. C, E, A, S, E. That would score pretty well. He could also play something with the S down here. So, tricky. This is a tough one. I think it's well worth Wellington trying to do his best to put scoring pressure on here. But maybe he will instead opt to go for a bingo. He could play shorter and try his best to draw for a bingo through one of these letters, which is not impossible. There's enough space extending off to the side where maybe he'll opt to do that. So this is going to be interesting. This is a tight game here. Every little decision looms large. Both players have some assets that can be very useful to them. And Wellington looks like he's just going to play AE in that lower corner, and he is going for the bingo approach here, as this play does not score terribly much. I'm gonna wait. Wellington has a habit of He has a habit of placing stuff on the board, taking a look, and then reassessing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Oh, an interesting suggestion from Evil Budgie of Seat. Not even sure how I would say that, but that play would go right here. Oh, wow. Is that... is he going to put the rest of the letters on? That's interesting. So instead, he has taken... So this is... The tricky thing about this play is that it scores one more point. Yeah, so he's moved it back down. It scores one fewer point at the base of the board there. And the reason that I like that positioning down there is that by playing in this spot here, he's blocking his E, which is an important letter to leave open if he's trying to bingo here. So that's going to be... Oh, he hasn't committed yet, or has he? He has. Okay. The play is committed. Every time there's a slight little lag spike, it just scares the heck out of me. All right. So play of AE in that lower part of the board, and immediately the response is a pay, which is a very, very nice play, scoring 38 points. Again, it leaves the Y for potentially more plays in that lower corner, with Emmanuel having both Ys. So I think this makes a lot of sense. It now gives Emmanuel a 30-point lead. So Wellington really went all in to try to get a bingo here. Let's see what he draws. He had a very good bingo lead, but a pay has the extra benefit of blocking off that R and E that Wellington really would have needed to get a lot of his bingos down here. So it's back over to Wellington. He drew weirdly to his leave. It looks like he drew GD. So that's not what he would have wanted to see. Let me just see if I can get more of him available here. Where is it? There we go. Oh, I see. It's not really that. We'll tweak the cameras at some point. All right, so he plays Sig. Wellington has played Sig in the upper corner. The thing about that is it doesn't score super well, but at least it uses that G and puts... Oh, he picks it up. Never mind. Sorry. He picks it up. He's just taking a look at it. So that would be an interesting play. I guess it's worth noting also, it's not impossible that Wellington can bingo with his S. Whoops. That he could bingo with his S here. It's not impossible, but it's tricky. So it looks like he is considering now playing Glad. That's a really interesting play just because he keeps the same leave as before. It only scores 22, so he's really going all in to bingo, but I just am not seeing where he will get one down unless he's going for a 9. It's going to be really tough for him to actually get a bingo down without making more space somewhere. So, all right, as we see the board flipping here. I see it looks like they have the board sort of off to the side. Maybe they'll turn it more parallel, hopefully. So, wow, that's crazy. Emmanuel just flashed. He just flashed his blank. Oh, duh. Oh, wow. Okay, I've been completely remiss this whole time. I've totally forgotten an incredibly important detail. I haven't mentioned it once. I totally forgot. I mentioned it earlier in the game, but the stow hook, right? This hook is obviously what Wellington was going for the whole time. Duh. Okay, I'm totally remiss with that analysis. So I was talking about these marginal spots like here when yeah, that was really bad on my part not to see that. So obviously it's a big S spot. Oh wow, I have to allow swearing by David Eldar. Welcome, Dave. How are you? Um, yeah, this it's it's totally fine. So yeah, we've been at it for a few hours here. I did have a crash of my game or my streaming software at one point, but this is our second round of streaming, and we're going to be on for quite a while here. So again, the schedule for this event is maybe we can cut to this without missing an Emmanuel move. Schedule here, we are at round 4, so we'll have one more round, then lunch break. We got 24 rounds over 3 days before best of 5 finals in the MGI Grand Slam. So lots and lots of Scrabble action here. So Emmanuel flashed his blank. He flashed his blank to Wellington and was preparing to play Nanuas and Stowe to block off that spot. So by the way, I don't have the score right. That's really important. Wellington officially played Glad for 22 to narrow the gap quite a bit. So the scary thing about a play like Nanua's, yeah, he intentionally put that blank down. I'm not sure to what to what end he did that. But there is a major, yeah, how many tiles left? Great point. I'll show you guys now. So let me get this tracking here. Tracking situation is as follows. Okay, I've updated it now. So this is the situation from Emmanuel's POV. So you can see he has to worry about this massive S hook here, of course. Wellington's play of Glad inadvertently blocked him from playing anything in this lower corner with his second Y, but there really wasn't anything there. So the top statically evaluated plays up here are Nay and Any in the corner. Nanua's obviously it is nice to block the S hook of Stowe, but it empties the bag and it opens him up to potential Q draws that are really, really problematic. Thank you. Yes, I've been working on this. Hopefully it looks nice. I'm praying that everything sort of holds together for the setup. But the nice thing I get about Nanua's, I guess, is that it sets your Y up to score well. So if you manage to dodge the Q, you're going to hit a good Y play a lot of the time. But I worry hugely that anytime you draw the Q after this play, it's going to allow Wellington to go out in 2 on you pretty easily and win the game because it empties the bag. It feels wrong, and I think it's just too much to sacrifice. I think if Emmanuel plays this play here, he's in serious trouble. He's still going to get hit with a big S hooking play either here or here. The S is going to score too much, and the bag will be empty. Play 2 tiles like an adult. That's true, yeah. So you could play something here if you want. This is a little bit risky to not block anything. Obviously, it hurts in these situations if you don't block up there and you just get hit with an S bingo and lose. And what is he? Oh, he's going to play unsay. That's interesting. Is this any better? I guess I don't understand this because a play of unsay is going to empty the bag and it's still going to lose to all the same stuff. you're still going to get hit with S bingos in this spot every time. So I don't think this leads to very much better outcomes. I guess every now and then you might block a bingo with S in late position, but not final position. Like something ending in S, I don't even know. I don't think this is going to do too well here. Anyway, let's go back and see what. So this is, I don't think this is Wellington's rack. Needs to assume the Q is in the bag after glad. Absolutely. The Q has a much better than average chance of being in the bag. Oh, and look at this. So we don't have Wellington's rack, but you see what he's about to play. So really, with that rack, Emmanuel was in trouble either way. But in this particular situation, it's definitely an RIP scenario. For 69, nice. The Twitch funny number. So nicely done by Wellington. So he is going to collect a lot of points. You see on Emmanuel's rack, he has ANNMOQ. I guess that was, was that really? Oh, there were 4 in the bag. Sorry. There were 4 in the bag there. So either way, final score of the game, after all the dust settles here, Wellington vaulting into the lead on his final move, and out bingo. Kind of like the walk-off, hit in baseball or whatever. And ditches for 69. Pretty nice, I have to say. So Wellington with a solid win here. What would have happened after just say? That's really interesting. Let's take a look. So a suggestion here, instead of unsay, what about just say for 21? So the idea here is to give your opponent the maximum credit possible. And the answer is, yeah, you get hit super hard. Yeah, this just doesn't, I just worry about how few points this scores. I'm curious. What does the machine have to say here? Yeah, it's spitting it out. Still churning. So yeah, I mean, it's just a tough scenario here because there's a lot. Oop. We'll see what happened to our board. Oh, everything. Good thing the game completed, because all right, so it wants to play something completely different here. It wants to play Nan. Why that is, I'm not 100% sure. I imagine that part of it is to hedge against the Q. Trying to imagine why it would do that. I bet I'm assuming that keeping the Y has some value. There's an N in the unseen. So is there some nice play that he's supposed to get? Oh, I see. Gotcha. An N in the unseen means that it's nice to shed the ends that you have so that you draw one and don't duplicate. So that could be, I don't know. This is tough. This would be brutal. So in this particular case, this is interesting though. So let's say you play Nan, and then ditches at the top of the board for 99 is the obvious, right? Is there some possibility that if Wellington, do you just win here if Wellington draws the Q as the last tile? I assume. Yeah, you easily win. So you can sometimes win if you just play Nan and don't draw the Q in this situation. Na and one is another play being suggested. So just the simple, just the reasonable choice here. Let's flip it so we can actually see the analysis board here. So obviously the issue with just Na is that you're sort of giving up some tempo there. You're only scoring 8. The nice thing about it, of course, it sets your Y up really huge. So that's nice. But yeah, Wellington could only lose by drawing the Q. Yeah. Gives up a huge score, but you play out first. You have the flexibility, a big setup. Yeah, I think I like this play of just Na to block that S. If you really give Wellington credit for it, you do have to do something about it. This does something about it. And maybe it induces some misplay as well to potentially work out better. So, tricky. That's a tough one. Quackle's play of Nan, I think, is just not realistic given that Wellington has just played AE and Glad on his previous 2 turns, right? You know he's close. You have to give him much more credit than Quackle is doing by just ignoring. So the engines that we use, if they have a weakness, it's that they don't give opponents enough credit for having racks that aren't random. A lot of the methodology that the computer engines currently have is to assume randomness on the part of your opponent, when of course after the plays that they're making, you can tell a lot about the fact that their racks are not random. Elise does try to do inference, and Quackle has an inference engine for simulation. I don't know if it has one for the championship player, pre-end game function. So anyway, very, very interesting. So, all right, I think what we should do is take a little break. I think round 5 will be coming in just a few minutes. I'm not 100% sure like how on schedule we are. I think the event is pretty well on schedule. It'll give me a little time to try to tweak some of the scenes and stuff like that. But of course, we have our break time exercise, which is common word list anagramming. So I still have that. And in fact, I'm getting a call from Nigeria. So I better take that. So let's have a little break and we'll come back with round 5, our last round before lunch, very soon.